Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you all here today. Before we jump into things, I want to just take 1 minute of your time to cover the boring stuff, boring but still important, our housekeeping. So, first, I just want to remind you guys not to worry about multitasking. We want you fully engaged in today's session. So, stick with us. You will receive a recording, a copy of the recording after the session via email. You'll get this on demand. You don't have to worry about writing down the juicy stuff you hear vigorously. You have an opportunity to go back, jump into the session at any time you'd like. Secondly, like I mentioned, we want you fully engaged, and that includes asking questions. So you'll probably hear me say this in every webinar you join with me, that there is no such thing as a stupid question. So you'll see that questions button at the top right of your screen with the box that has a question mark in it. Go ahead and click that button, scroll to the bottom, you'll see an open field where you can submit your questions. Please do so throughout today's session. We'll gather and collect them all, and at the end, we will be answering as many of your questions live. And if we don't get to your question, we'll do our best to provide an answer to you post show. Lastly, we strive to make content and sessions that you guys actually want to join, are interested in, and want to hear. So if we have just 60 seconds to spare when we finish today, go ahead and complete our survey. It'll pop up automatically in your screen. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today and get to know what you'd like to see in the future so we can get that to you, right? So thank you for sort of sticking with me through those housekeeping notes. Now let's go ahead and introduce our session for today, GoTo Connect integrations and automations. All right, so of course today's session is brought to you by GoTo Connect. Here at GoTo Connect, we help people and businesses do their best work simply and securely from anywhere. GoTo Connect offers a full suite of capabilities you see here, including GoToWebinar, which is what's driving today's session. And we have a number of flagship solutions to meet your communications needs and offer integrations to market leading business solutions. But enough about GoTo Connect on a high level, that is. I will go ahead and introduce our speakers without any further ado. So please go ahead and join me on camera. Today we have Jeff Cook, our Senior Manager of Product Marketing, and Valerie Hulan, Senior Solutions Consultant. Hi guys, how are you?
Just dandy.
Great.
Thanks everyone for joining today.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. All right. Well, Jeff, I will throw it over to you to go over today's agenda.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Well, everyone, I'm excited to talk to you today to you about integrations. I'm one of those weirdos that is really passionate about connecting software and making lives easier to do through integrations. So what's on the agenda today is first we're going to dive into what the importance of integrations, kind of the why are we doing this, and then we're going to explore, what are latest integrations, kind of high level what they do. We're going to then kind of talk about how we're using AI to make your lives easier. We're not just trying to use AI so we could have a buzzword of we use AI. We actually want to make your lives better. And then Valerie will do an awesome demo for us, and then we'll do some Q&A. So easy peasy. All right, next slide. So we're going to do a quick poll. And so, if you could just fill out the poll of what CRM your team currently uses. And a fun fact about this, if your integration is not one that we currently integrate with, by filling out this poll, maybe you'll see that integration come to light soon. So I would recommend doing the poll.
Yeah, absolutely. Information like this, like you mentioned, Jeff, is super helpful because it gives us a good idea of what people are looking for when they're wanting to integrate their phone system and the systems that they use every day for their CRM.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally see a lot, and it seems like that's showing here as well. For Salesforce, that seems to be a really popular one that I work with pretty often.
Yeah. Obviously, Salesforce is trying to take over the world, but I come from an automotive background, so I'm hoping we have some people who are involved with automotive and car dealerships, and maybe we can see some interest there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we've gotten quite a few people who have mentioned other, that it's not one of those four big main ones, it's something separate. So I definitely see automotive falling into that category.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, thanks for filling out the poll. That was excellent. And now let's kind of dive into why integrations. We're a phone system. Why do we care about integrations? At the end of the day, we care about a better customer experience. That's a better customer experience, not just for you all as our customers, but for your customers, right? We know that calling in to support and having to repeat the same thing you already talked about to another agent is frustrating for your customers. And so we're trying to make that information easy and also just to improve in collaboration and productivity. Um, I know that sounds silly, but we want to make your lives easier. Go to the next slide real quick. And so, why do we integrate with platforms, right? And ultimately, I'm one of those people. I always tell my mom that I work ever since a kid, I've always tried to work harder so I can be lazy. I know that sounds funny, but ultimately, I don't like spending my time on mundane tasks. I don't like having to chase down information that should be easily available. And I like to stay on one screen. I have multiple monitors, but I like to stay on one. And ultimately, integrations help solve a lot of those problems, right? We can automate certain tasks, we can push data into the CRMs, or we can pull it into GoTo, and it just makes everyone's lives easier, right? It doesn't, you don't have to hunt down like, well, who was it that called, you know, John the other day? Like, I have no idea who called John the other day. It's like, well, let's make that easy, right? We have the information. Why not make it easy for you to find the information in the app that you expect it to show? All right, let's go to the next slide. All right. So, I talked about AI, and I was saying that we're not just using AI for a buzzword, but we're actually looking how we can use AI to improve your lives. And frankly, we could have put AI in silly ways, a million different ways already. But we took the time to really think, how can we best use AI for improving customer needs? And we are just scratching the surface. We already have a lot of things planned, but let's kind of deep dive of what we're doing. Um, and with AI, with all these integrations that you see here, one of my favorite workflows that we have with AI is called our call summary. And what a call summary does is, so if you're on a conversation with a customer, it will actually first transcribe that call, and then it uses AI to summarize that call. So in my non-marketing terminology, it's taking notes for you, right? You don't have to worry about taking notes because the tool will do it. I mean, it knows the information about the call, so why have to take your time to write notes? And we know that sometimes it's hard to take notes because right as you hang up on a call, someone else is calling you, and you're like, oh, I don't have time to go to my CRM and write that I talked to John, and here's what we talked about, and because I got to go help this other customer with this other need. So let us do it, right? And in that's one workflow that we have. And when Valerie does her demo, she will highlight a lot of our other workflows. But as you see this list of these integrations that we have, it's a great list. I'm super proud of this list. I'm super excited. This is just the start, right? We're running full speed in integrations. And so, as you see it, if you're like, dang it, they don't have my CRM or they don't have my tool, let us know because we're crushing them, and we would love to hear your feedback of what other integrations you want. Can we go on the next slide? All right, now we're going to go to the demo, and you'll get a lucky break from me to stop talking.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Let me pull up my screen here and we'll dive into kind of seeing it in action. And this will give some good context as well to really how this can help kind of simplify some of those workflows and just increase the visibility that we all need across the organization when we're working with our clients. So let me pull my screen up here. Before we jump too much into the Salesforce program itself, I wanted to highlight what Jeff had mentioned with it working within the unified admin. So the nice thing is this is the same area where you'll come in and make changes to your dial plan, where you would make changes or configurations to your devices, add and remove users, check out your system health and that call volume. All of that is in one place, and so integrations can be there as well. Within the integrations that you're using, you can click into, for this case, I have Salesforce up. You can tie your account to your accounts together, and then you can enable these different workflows. And the nice thing with the different workflows is it's really just a matter of turning and enabling that little button icon so it's on. So with that, you can do contact sync. So now you have the same information from your contacts in Salesforce to your contacts that are in your GoTo app. With voicemail transcription, you're able to turn that on. And not only will it log that voicemail to the contact record in Salesforce, but it's also going to give you that transcription. And I'll show you what that looks like here. So I have my Salesforce instance pulled up and I'm looking at my contact Stan. With Stan, we logged a voicemail in here and it's going to attach the transcript under the notes and attachments section. So then now I have a log of that voicemail, but then I also in the body, let me zoom in here so you can see it, I have that Stan left me a voicemail, and this was the information that came on that voicemail transcript. So now if Jeff was to come in and look at Stan Watts, he would also be able to see this voicemail transcript and be fully up to date on what has most recently happened with Stan. Another piece that you can sync up is your messaging history. And the nice thing with this is text messaging is becoming more and more relevant in the market, and that is not really going to change. People like to do connect over text message. And for many people, it's more convenient for them to send a text message than it is to send an email or to make a phone call. So being able to log that communication with your clients is really helpful as well. So again, I'm going to jump back into Stan, and I'm going to scroll down. In this center section, you can really see all these different calls with Stan. We have text messaging that happened on the 17th. We have some more text messaging that happened on the 3rd. And when we drop down that menu, we can see this conversation. So who wrote it? So which way did it come? What the message said, and the timestamp of that message. So again, some good visibility where maybe I wasn't the person to send those text messages. I can still see what they were, so I can help Stan to the best of my ability. Back in the admin, there's two other really helpful workflows. One is call logging, and one is call logging with AI. And this is that AI summary that Jeff was talking about, where you can have an AI-generated summation of the call. You can also see any topics that were flagged in there, any flags, and then full sentiment analysis. So was it a positive conversation? Was it a negative conversation? Was it just a neutral conversation? So first I'll go into Stan and we'll go through what just a normal call log looks like. And then we'll jump into Matt and see what it would look like with an AI summary. So I have Stan here, and we can see there was declined calls. So that's a nice call log. We can see when it happened. We can see if it was a missed call, where it went to voicemail. We can also see that a call was logged where it went to voicemail. There was a call that was missed. So the nice thing with these is they're all automatically logging. So an agent or a user doesn't have to go in and manually log all of these connections. This integration can do that for them. So it really limits the like unintentional user error where they just got busy, they didn't have time, they didn't realize that they had missed a call. This will log that anyway, which is nice. When we then go into something with an AI summary, like in the Matt Winter's case, when I open this call log, I can see it was a call from Matt Winters, or to Matt Winters from Sutton on the system. It was an outbound call, so Sutton on our system called Matt. The start and end time, if there were any flags, which in this case there were not, what the sentiment was. In this case, it was a neutral sentiment. And then we get our topics, so things that came up during that phone call that were deemed a topic. And then we get a full summary of that phone call. So we can really see what happened on that call, and it just gives even better context to how that call with Matt went. The nice thing with this is I'm going to jump over into the GoTo Analytics. So in the Analytics platform, I'm just in our call reports. When you're looking at the interaction details, this is that same call with Matt Winters. The nice thing with this is that AI summary. So it's exactly the same thing being logged in your records of your calls and within the CRM. So again, we have the full summary, we have that the call was neutral, and then we have those topic flags. Now this was for a neutral phone call. Let's jump into this next one down and see what the determination was for that. So again, we have this full AI summary where it talks about the highlights, the functionality of the contact center agent. The process is streamlined. It gives a sentiment that the call was mostly positive, and then we get some different topics like call management, virtual holding pattern, transfer assistance. So now when we click into Matt Winters, that next call down, we can see again that it was an outbound call from Sutton on my phone system to our client, Matt Winters. The topic or the sentiment was positive, and then we get those topics of call management, virtual holding pattern, transfer assistant, and then the full summary the same. So you really get that detailed information that's more than just a phone call happened. We can see what happened on that phone call, which is helpful context because if I'm receiving a call now from Matt or I need to call Matt, I know what he and Sutton talked about most recently. Just the final piece that I wanted to touch on with the integration is we also have click-to-call functionality. So any phone numbers that are registering in Salesforce, we can use a click-to-call to then make an outbound phone call. Just streamlining, making sure people don't have to copy and paste, do any of those extra steps. And then we also have screen pop. So when a call comes in, you'll be able to see the contact that it's searching for, and it can pop that contact record automatically in Salesforce. So you can help that client faster without having to do any manual searches. So that is it for the demo. I will pass it back to you, Jeff.
All right, let me get my camera back on. As it loads, there we go. All right, thank you, Valerie. Thanks for that demo. I always love to see the product in action. You know, it saves me from talking and saves you guys from listening for me. But one thing that I want to talk about is a customer who has our integrations. They actually have it with Salesforce. And I'm just going to read this quote from them. It says, being able to see conversation history in Salesforce makes my job so much easier. We have a lot of interns, so it is hard to always know who sent what and to who. You know, they're a small charity, and they have like the quote says, they have a lot of interns coming and going, and sometimes it's like, you know, they wear multiple hats. It's hard to know, like, wait, did you call the customer? Did you send a text to that customer? And so being able to see that in Salesforce very cleanly makes it just so easy for them. All right, next slide, please. All right, just a recap of what we talked today before we hop into the Q&A is, you know, integrations. We're trying to, you know, we're not trying. Integrations simplify your workflow. There's no question that they make your lives easier. Just even if you're using the GoTo mobile app and you're like, hey, I need to call that person, and you're doing the contact sync, you can see that contact in your mobile app with GoTo without having to open up Salesforce, search for Matt, what's his phone number, then call him. Like, it's just a pain, right? This simplifies your workflow. And that improves, and then these call logs back and forth, the messaging log back and forth, it improves your conversations with your customers, right? Like I kind of touched base before, no one likes to call and have to re-explain their problem and be like, well, I was talking to so-and-so. I'm like, well, I don't know what you guys talked about. Now you know what they talked about. and let's let AI do the work, right? I mean, um, we know you're all busy, right? Let's let AI take notes for you, right? Let's not make our lives more difficult. Let's focus on actual customer problems versus taking time to write some notes. All right. So with that, I think. Oh, sorry. One more poll, and then we'll hop into a Q&A. All right.
Thank you, Jeff. Awesome. And thank you, Valerie, as well. Great session and presentation, guys. And I think our audience, thinks it was well received as well. We have tons of questions to go through. So we will get through as many as possible, guys. But thank you so much for even submitting all these questions. This is great. This is a good problem to have. So let's jump into it. All right. So let's start with, oh gosh, they keep coming. Here we go. Let's start here with this one. How does this work with ServiceNow?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we actually have on our GoTo support page details of how that integration works. But how it works is similar to how the CRM works, except for it does um, it creates tasks in ServiceNow for certain items. Um, and to really deep dive on that, we can follow up and send a video of how it works and as well as the documentation.
Perfect. Awesome. So, and so you guys know you'll have another opportunity to let us know if you do want to speak to an expert. So hold on tight to Jeff's point. If you want to dig into this more, hold tight. If you didn't already let us know you want to speak to an expert, you can let us know shortly and we can connect you with someone. So jumping into our next question here, would love to see screen pops. Can you open a new contact record if they don't exist?
Currently, no, but I do love that idea. Um, Thanks for that idea. I'm gonna take a note of that, and I'm gonna run with that right now because I love that idea.
That's awesome. And we'll have all of these, Jeff, for you so I can pass it on to you. And that's what this is for, guys. So, like, yeah, give us ideas. Let us know what you need. Let us know what you want to see. This is perfect. Love it. As an existing admin to my GoTo account, can I add this on without talking to a salesperson?
I love that question because we recently just made it so you can. If you go to admin and go to where it lists your products, there is an option to add add-ons. Try saying add add-ons 10 times fast. I digress. But yeah, you can go to the add-ons and it has integrations on there and you are able to add those on yourself without having to contact sales.
Perfect. Spot on. Thank you for that question. And this should be a quick one. Do you integrate with, hopefully I pronounced this correctly, Lotusoft?
We currently do not, but again, that's why I'm also excited about this webinar is because I want to hear, which ones you are all interested in so we can build out our roadmap.
Perfect.
Absolutely. And then just as a quick side note on some of the integrations, we do have a lot of open APIs available. So if you have a great contact at somewhere like Lotusoft, or you have a homegrown CRM that you've created, we have a ton of open APIs that are really useful in being able to integrate what you have in your CRM with our phone system.
Well said,
Awesome.
Valerie. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. If an end user prefers a desk phone, can they still use the screen pop?
Yeah, there's still a way that the screen pop will work. They do have to have the GoTo app running on their computer, but there's a way to set the GoTo app still to default for the desk phone for calls. And so they just have to make sure that those settings are configured.
Perfect.
Mhm.
How do I buy an integration add-on?
Yeah, kind of what we were just saying. Either you can contact your sales rep or you can go to the GoTo admin portal and go to the products and then to add-ons, and then you can add it on yourself.
Perfect.
And just to clarify, you have to go to the GoTo admin portal, not the Jive admin portal.
Got it. Awesome. The call log with AI works with other, this is a question. So does the call log with AI work with other languages or only English?
It currently does work with other languages. Unfortunately, I don't have the list of all the languages we support today. I do know it works with lots of languages, so we'll have to get back to you on which ones we do.
Fair enough. How do you get to where you can see the voicemail transcript? So this actually, seems like a technical question. I don't know if it's worth Valerie sharing your screen again to show the audience that really quickly.
Sure. Yeah. So with the voicemail, specifically to Salesforce, it will you'll have the log in. Let me pull my screen up here so you can see it as well. But you would have the log in your records, so you'd be able to see that a voicemail was left. But then with Salesforce, under Notes and Attachments, that's where that additional information will be of the full transcript of the voicemail. So just over here on the right-hand side, you'll have your Notes and Attachments that you can then click into, and that will pull the transcript.
Perfect. Awesome.
And that's how it works on pretty much all of our CRMs. It will create a note.
Love it. Perfect. And so not CRM, but do you have any sort of integrations with Teams?
Uh, yeah, we do. Actually, with Microsoft Teams, we have an excellent integration. Um, Sorry, my brain farted. I immediately wanted to jump in and demo it, but I was like,
I know,
probably
right?
can't. No, we have an excellent Teams integration, and we actually have a couple different options of how we can connect with Teams. And so
Mhm.
if you said you didn't want to talk to your sales rep, I would change that answer. Or you can go to, there's a lot of documentation on the support page or on our main page about our integration with Microsoft Teams. And, not to toot our own horn too much, but our integration with Teams is pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would second that. It's an amazing integration, and one of the ones that's been very popular is where it's our cell phone embedded into Teams, so you can really have that single pane of glass experience. If you've been using Teams for a lot of internal communication, you can still kind of use that and have those chats and those meetings, but then also have your go-to phone as part of the same interface.
Perfect. Love it. And yeah, and just to kind of throw my world in it a little bit, we have a webinar on this too, that we've done a few weeks ago. So again, like ask to connect to an expert and they can send you that on-demand link to watch this webinar, but at your earliest convenience. It's a great webinar. We got tons of positive feedback, to both of our speakers' points on this integration. So great question. Can these services be used independent of integrations? For example, can we use notes without integrations?
Yes, there's some caveats there, and when we say notes, there's kind of two different types of notes, and one I was calling notes is our call summary. So call summaries you can have if you have the analytics add-on, and like how Valerie was showing in our call reports, you can see those summaries, or if you have the CX SKU or the CC complete. And then also when you think about agent notes, you don't have to have integrations to have that. You can just have the CC, our contact center product to do notes.
Perfect. All right. And I think we are almost at time. Maybe one or two more questions we can take here. So let me see. What are the benefits of integrating GoTo with my existing business CRM?
Yeah, I mean, it's so many. It's hard to like say which ones, but my favorite one still is the screen pop. right? You sync your contacts down into from your CRM. You're able to get that call. You're able to see it in Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever your CRM is, and you're not having to like, yeah, what's your last name? How do you spell that? And you're trying to like search for this person, and it just makes your life easier being able to, just see that full transaction history. Valerie, I don't know if you have anything you want to add.
Yeah, I think what I really love about a lot of the auto logging is it, in a perfect world, right? We're all going to be updated on all of our logging all of the time, and we'll do it immediately when it happens. But in actual practice, that's really difficult. So it's not uncommon for like calls to be logged the next day, the next week. Sometimes if it's been a rough month, it's the next month that they're logged. And so during that time, if anyone's needing to see what's been happening with those, without that auto logging, it's really difficult because there's a lot of information missing. And it's not that there's bad employees, it's just that they're really busy and they're humans. And so what I really love about the auto logging is it helps us to be successful and helps us to do the things that we want to do but don't necessarily always have time to do. So that's probably one of my favorite pieces of the integrations.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Awesome. Well, Jeff, I think you just dropped this in the chat, but just so I can say it out loud, the full list of integrations that you work with. I think that's a link you just dropped.
Yep.
Awesome.
And then I dropped a link to our admin portal because I know some of you still use Jive Admin, so I just dropped a link
Hmm.
to the GoTo admin portal, and it's just admin.goto.com.
Hmm.
Perfect.
And then
Love
if
it.
you are on the legacy Jive platform, it will say Jive in that URL. So that's a really good distinguishing piece between the two.
Perfect. I think we are at time for all the questions that we can jump into today. Thank you guys so much for dropping all of these questions. We will try as best as possible to follow up with some of these. So, like we've been mentioning, I'm going to launch this poll one more time. If we didn't get to one of your questions and you'd want to make sure you get an answer to, go ahead and click yes, and we'll have an expert follow up and get you the answer to your question. Hopefully, some of the resources Jeff dropped as well are helpful too, but we'd love to talk to you one on one and see what we can do to help you. So, thank you guys for joining our session today. As soon as we conclude, we will have a survey pop up. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see in the future, what you don't want to see in the future. We want to hear it all so we can continue to build content that you guys enjoy and want to see and find valuable. So thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Jeff, for a great session.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.